Hey everybody, Ashley Garner here. What's happening? Just thought I would go live and see if we can catch any reaction to the Fed, the effect that the Fed rate change may have or may not have on anything else. So let's see if we can watch this. Should be coming up in a few minutes. You know, it's interesting. I've got outside of my office window. They're replacing the gutters on our building, and so it's you'll hear the beeping noise of the guys working. I think it's Baker Roofing, which some of my good friends are associated with. So, thanks guys for the sound effects. So let's see if we can catch. I like Bloomberg TV pretty good. CNBC is good, but I like Bloomberg pretty good. So let's see. Market Watch is a website that I like. It's good for charts and graphs and watching things like the 10-year treasury, which I'm particularly interested in because when you borrow money, most of the time, it's going to be somehow affected on that by the 10-year treasury. So let's see if we can notice anything. My personal opinion is that it's not going to change much on the 10-year yield. Right now, I'm looking at Bloomberg, and it's 4.15%. My guess is it stays about like that. Let's turn it up. All right, so they voted to lower it by 25 basis points. That's interesting. So I don't think I can share my screen here. Yeah, pretty sure not. Or if I can, I'll learn that the next time. But looking at the 10-year treasury on Market Watch, it did take a dip just here at 2 o'clock as the decision came out, but it wasn't a huge dip. It went from 4.17 to 4.15. So did it go down? Yeah. Did it go down a noticeable difference? I mean, you could see it on the graph, but if you zoom out enough, you can't really even see that. That doesn't even show up. So, in other words, I think the market or the buyers and sellers of things like that were expecting this and are not surprised by it. So it's not a real big deal. You know, these kind of things are interesting because it's you watch the media and there's such a big deal about it. Like it's like this anticipation of, well, what are they going to do with the rates? Are they going to lower the rates? And yeah, they may lower the rates, but that's just the rate that the banks borrow money from each other. It doesn't doesn't directly affect interest rates for you know like what you borrow your mortgage, for example. 30-year. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. 30-year mortgage, any kind of mortgage, 15-year mortgage. Those aren't directly affected by what the Fed does. Okay. Now there may be some correlation to certain things, but they're more affected. Those mortgage rates are more affected by what the 10-year treasury yields do or the 30-year treasury yields do. And those rates are just straight up supply and demand. So if buyers want to buy them and there's plenty of supply and the buyers want to buy them, there's probably going to be a pretty steady rate. If there's a rush to buy them, the yields tend to go down. Uh, See right here. Let's see what happened. See if I can zoom in any farther on this. Yeah, so this rate went from 4.17. This is the 10-year treasury, 4.17, and at 2 o'clock it immediately went down to 4.15. And then at 2:03 it went back to 4.167. So it's right back to where, it went doop, and right back up. So I think we can say that at least so far, that's no change to the 10-year treasury. So it's not a surprise. Um, that's about what everybody was expecting. Fed Watch said, it was like a 90% chance they were going to cut rates. So everybody was expecting it. And you hear them talk about baked in. This was the market for these treasuries expected this rate cut to the Fed. And so it's not a surprise. And because it's not a surprise, there's very little change in the rate. Now, does that mean that there won't be a change later? No. Um, they could go up, they could go down, but it's going to be based on lots of other factors like job numbers, inflation numbers, geopolitical problems, the effects of terrorists, the effects of tariffs, the effects of whatever. So anyway, those are the things that really affect the rates that people like you and me most commonly use to borrow money, mortgages or commercial loans in our case, apartments, things like that. That's affected by those bond yields much more than by the Fed treasuries. So anyway, not much of a surprise there. If any of you are interested, we are having a webinar here in about an hour, and we would love to have you. It's about some strategies for building wealth in the upcoming year. And I'll give you a little spoiler. They're roughly the same strategies of building wealth last year and most every year. So, but join in. We'd love to have the dialogue with you. All right. Talk to you soon.